Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Courtroom Insider. So glad you are here. Can you believe it's the end of May already? I can't. It is just gone so fast, but grateful that summer is just around the corner. I'm Nate Eaton, joining you from our studio in Idaho Falls. And in just a few days, I will be headed down to Arizona once again. And we will be bringing you live coverage over the next few weeks as Lorie Vallow Daybell prepares for her final trial. We've had one in Idaho and then another one with her husband, Chad Daybell, over the past 2 years. We had one just a few weeks ago, of course, in Phoenix for the death of Charles Vallow. Now we have one for Brandon Boudreaux. And tonight we're going to be focusing on who is Brandon, why is she being charged for this alleged crime, and we're going to go through a lot of stuff here that I don't think you've seen before, or at least if you have, maybe it can give you some fresh eyes. It definitely has for me. I spent several hours this morning preparing for this, going through video that we have had for some time, but it helped to kind of refresh my memory. So many of you have emailed me and messaged me about who is Brandon and how does he tie into all of this. We're going to go through that along with several other things tonight. We are going to talk about new court documents that have been filed in this case. We have background on Brandon's case. We have Brandon's interview. He actually has done one television interview, and we're going to play you parts of that interview he did back in 2020 when the kids first disappeared. He did an interview with Fox 13 in Salt Lake City. We also have the body camera footage that I'll play for you the morning that Brandon was shot at, in case you haven't seen it. I might find it interesting there. Storage unit videos. I've played this before, but I will be honest and tell you that I've gone through all of the video now from some key dates around the time that Brandon was shot at. We'll explain why this might come into play at the trial, why it's so big. We'll talk about the trial schedule, and we will take your questions. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Lorie Vallow has filed several motions over the past week or so ahead of the trial. One is the motion to preclude evidence of phone data and text messages. Also, a motion to suppress evidence pertaining to the Jeep Wrangler, and a motion to dismiss for non-preservation of crucial evidence. What do all these mean? I've got the documents here, requested them all from the clerk, and we're going to go through them one by one and explain to you a little bit about what this will mean, if anything, for the trial, along with Trina Kay, the prosecutor's responses. So let's jump right in. The first one, the motion to preclude or exclude evidence of phone data and text messages. Lorie says, she wrote this all handwritten. I don't know if you can see it here, but she wrote this from her jail cell. The defendant, Lorie Daybell, requests this court preclude all evidence of phone data and text messages relating to Alex Cox. The alleged co-conspirator is deceased. Therefore, the state cannot establish Alex Cox's intent, knowledge, or absence of mistake. Facts. She says telephone messages are inadmissible, and she quotes some other case law. There's some case law, but I don't know if she establishes what that is. She says the federal wiretap, state invasion of privacy, prohibits unlawful access to stored electronic and communications. She says that the data was illegally obtained, and according to Riley v. California, it is hearsay anyway. Also, if the state is using geofencing from Google or location history directly from the account, the state still cannot determine who was in control over that device at that time. So any data obtained would be pure speculation as to the actual person's location. Lorie says a phone is a small device that could be picked up by any person and transported by any person. The state has made no determination, underlined, to the defense about any data turned over to the defense regarding Alex Cox is actually data from Alex Cox. Any person who knows your email address could purchase a phone and attach your email address to it. The defense requests this court preclude all evidence of phone data regarding Alex Cox in this trial for all of the reasons stated above. Signed, Lorie Vallow. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll jump back and forth between what Lorie filed and what the prosecutor responded, how the prosecutor responded, so that I'm not giving you all of the the data or all of Lorie's filings right up front. Okay, so what she says, this is how Trina K responded to Lorie's request to have all of the data and text messages thrown out. Trina says the state of Arizona requests this court deny the defendant's motion to preclude text messages, iCloud data, cell phone data, and Homer J. Maximus Gmail location data. This evidence and data were obtained pursuant to search warrants, and text messages are admissible pursuant to Arizona rules as statements of a party opponent. On October 10th, 2019, Gilbert Police obtained a search warrant for Verizon phone number. On December 3rd, Gilbert Police obtained a warrant for Verizon, another number. And on February 26th, all of the evidence the defendant seeks to preclude was lawfully obtained through multiple search warrants. So short, to the point response right there. The defense says, kick it out, don't let it in. The prosecution says, we obtained it all legally. It has to be let in. I do think that this is going to be let in because it was admitted in the other trial, in Charles Vallow's trial with the same judge. But we'll see. We'll see what he has to say. Okay, let's go to the second motion from Lorie Vallow, which was the motion to suppress evidence related to the Jeep Wrangler. This is the Jeep that belonged to Charles Vallow, that was used when Brandon was shot at, and that Alex Cox did the shooting from. Lorie says, pursuant to the Fourth Amendment, the defendant requests the court suppress all evidence obtained as a result of illegal, unconstitutional, warrantless seizure of the Jeep Wrangler. On or about October 17th, 2024, approximately 7 months ago, so last October, Detective Ray Hermosillo of the Rexburg Police Department was interviewed on a podcast entitled Fax Me That Podcast. During this 2-hour, 12-minute interview featuring Detective Hermosillo, the detective informs the public how he obtained the Jeep Wrangler on November 4th, 2019. Detective Hermosillo indicates at about 5 minutes in that, number one, on Monday morning, November 4th, 2019, while driving home from the gym, he spots the Jeep in an apartment complex parking lot. Number two, he makes some phone calls and gets the Jeep impounded. Number three, he then goes on the phone with Arizona and states, quote, I got your Jeep. Number four, Arizona says, quote, hang tight, we have to get a warrant issued. Number five, Detective Hermosillo then states, quote, that Jeep sat in our custody a week and a half till they showed up. Conclusion from Lorie. So after seizing the Jeep Wrangler without a warrant, Detective Hermosillo then took steps to obtain a warrant. The defense requests all evidence obtained as a result of this unconstitutional warrantless seizure in violation of the Fourth Amendment be suppressed. A suppression hearing is requested. Now, this is how the state responded to Lorie's request and the allegations about Detective Hermosillo. On November 1, 2019, Detective Hermosillo with the Rexburg Police spoke with Detective Nolan McDermott from Gilbert Police. Detective McDermott sent a probable cause statement to Detective Hermosillo, providing probable cause to seize the 2018 Jeep Wrangler with license plate number and VIN number such and such. Detective Hermosillo went to court on November 1 and obtained a search warrant. Detective Hermosillo documented that he obtained a search warrant for the Jeep on November 1 in his police report. The state obtained a search warrant, a copy of it, and disclosed that to the defendant. So Lorie has the warrant. On November 4th, so 3 days later, Detective Hermosillo observed the Wrangler on Pioneer Road in Rexburg. Detective Hermosillo had probable cause from Gilbert Police that the Jeep was used in a shooting in Gilbert. He knew that the Jeep was movable and could be driven away, and he had lawful authority to seize the Jeep pursuant to the search warrant he obtained on November 1, 4 days earlier. Detective Hermosillo documented in his police report that he seized the Jeep on November 4th and had it towed to the RPD. Upon seizing the Jeep, Detective Hermosillo realized his original warrant contained the correct VIN number, but there was a typographical error as to the year. It indicated that it was a 2008 instead of a 2018. Detective Hermosillo immediately obtained another search warrant for the Wrangler with the correct year, fixing the typo, and a copy of the search warrant was given to the defendant on February 26th, 2024. Last year, I want to be sure that I got that year right. Yeah, last year, over a year ago. Although Detective Hermosillo could have lawfully seized the Jeep Wrangler based upon probable cause by the Gilbert Police, he did in fact seize the Jeep Wrangler pursuant to a search warrant that he obtained on November 1, 3 days before the seizure of the Jeep. The Jeep was lawfully seized. The state requests the court deny the defendant's motion to suppress all evidence pertaining to the Jeep Wrangler. So that is their response to that one. The final thing that Lorie Vallow, the motion to dismiss for non-preservation of crucial evidence. She said that the state of Arizona did not preserve the crucial evidence of, quote, the car door or, quote, the car window of the alleged victim. It is a violation of the 6th and 14th Amendment of the United States and the defendant's right to due process. The lack of preservation of this crucial evidence is prejudicial to this defendant and her defense team. The defense has requested the state of Arizona the actual door of the car that was allegedly shot and the window of the car door that shattered as a result of the alleged gunshot. The defense was informed by the state that they do not have and did not preserve the car door or the window. Therefore, they are not available to the defense to do their own independent investigation of these two crucial pieces of evidence to this case. There are nothing but photos, pictures of the car door and the car window. Therefore, the defense and its experts cannot measure or test anything about the alleged shooting. This is a violation of the state, precluding this defense from doing an independent investigation. And then she asks the judge to dismiss the case. Well, Trina K filed a response. And this is what Miss K said. She said that the police department did not act in bad faith when they decided not to preserve the Tesla or the Tesla's driver's side window or any testing or window because this would not exonerate the defendant against actions she took in Rexburg to aid in the charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Brandon Boudreaux. I want to pause there because I want to move into what we know about the shooting of Brandon. And the prosecutor lays out the timeline very well in this. So I'll fast forward a bit and then I'll come back to this. But basically, what Trina K says is that the defendant has police reports showing that the Gilbert police did not impound the Tesla since December 12th of 2023. The defendant has failed to show any bad faith on the part of the Gilbert police in their decision not to impound it. She hasn't listed reasons why what they did was bad. And the Gilbert police failed to preserve it because it has extremely limited evidentiary value and no value to exonerate the defendant's actions that were occurring in another state. So Trina K is saying, regardless of whether we had this car, regardless of what happened to the window, it doesn't talk about what Lorie was doing in another state, Idaho. Lorie didn't pull the trigger, and she's charged with conspiracy to commit this murder. So had they saved the car, ultimately, how is that going to come into play is what Trina K is saying. And we're going to show you what Lorie was doing in Idaho while this shooting took place. So those are the three motions that were filed. And of course, the three responses from Trina K asking the judge to dismiss each one. We will see what he does. He will have to rule on them before trial. I could expect that possibly next Thursday or Friday, outside of the presence of the jury, that the judge could rule on these motions, or maybe he waits until the trial actually starts. But for now, I want to move on and talk about what happened with Brandon. This is the car door, Brandon's car door of his black Tesla that happened on October of 2019. This is the car door of Brandon's Tesla that he was driving on October 2nd, 2019, when he was shot at. And I'm going to go through the timeline of what we know concerning Brandon, what happened that morning, and what the state will likely lay out, likely in their opening statement, and as the trial progresses. On October 2nd, 2019, Brandon Boudreaux was residing on Phelps Street in Gilbert, Arizona. That morning, he left his residence at approximately 7:25 a.m., took his children to school, dropped off his youngest with his soon-to-be ex-wife, and went to the gym. Around 8:40 a.m., a neighbor was backing out of his driveway and observed a Jeep parked next to Boudreaux's driveway. The Jeep was parked so the front of the Jeep was facing the front of a white SUV. The neighbor noted that the Jeep was running, had tinted windows, and a Texas license plate. The neighbor had never seen this Jeep before. At approximately 8:48 a.m., another neighbor was walking his dogs when he saw a Jeep parked with the front of the Jeep facing the front of a white van in front of Boudreaux's residence. I'll pause right there. Makes me wonder if these neighbors are going to be called to testify. I wouldn't doubt it. The neighbor noticed the Jeep was running, that the driver's seat was pushed all the way forward to the steering wheel, and he could not see in the back of the Jeep due to tinted windows. Another pause. Imagine you are going on a walk in your neighborhood and you see a Jeep that's running, parked in front of a house of your neighbor, and the driver's seat is all the way forward to the steering wheel, and you can't see the back because the windows are tinted. You can't see inside the Jeep. It obviously caught these neighbors enough off guard that they took note of it. Boudreaux returned home approximately 9:13 a.m. I want to pause here again. Brandon has said publicly in testimony that nobody knew where he lived. Very few people knew where he lived, I should say. He was in the process of getting a divorce from Melanie. Melanie Boudreaux is Lorie's niece. And remember, Melanie was close with Lorie, so much so that she moved to Idaho to be by her, and was going through this divorce with Brandon. Brandon was listed on the dark scale by Chad and Lorie, and Brandon had moved out into this home, and hardly anybody knew that this is where he was living. But Alex knew, and apparently Lorie and Chad knew, Melanie knew, and this is at 9:13 a.m. He returns home from the gym in this car. As he approached his driveway, he slowed as his Tesla began opening the garage door. As Boudreaux slowed, he noticed a Jeep parked next to his driveway. Boudreaux watched as the rear window of the Jeep lifted up and a rifle barrel pointed out the rear window. Boudreaux heard a loud bang and his driver's side window shattered. Boudreaux hit the gas and drove away from his house. Boudreaux called 911 and returned to his house. We have the 911 call on our YouTube channel at East Idaho News. I won't play it for you now. It's on there. When Boudreaux put his Tesla in park, the driver's door automatically opened and the driver's side glass window fell out of the frame onto the driveway. This is, I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but this picture, that's empty. You can see kind of the frame of the window there, and there's no glass in it. It fell down. It's amazing he was not hit by that bullet. When police arrived, they noticed the hole in the driver's door frame and the driver's side glass laying on the driveway. Police recognized the hole as being made by a bullet. Gilbert police detectives went to the scene, took photographs of the street where the shooting occurred, the glass in the street, the white van, an area around the white van that was mentioned by neighbors, the Tesla in the driveway, the gunshot hole in the doorframe of the Tesla, and the driver's side window that was laying in the driveway. The police also took photos of the Tesla with a trajectory rod in the bullet hole and the bullet fragments that they collected from the doorframe. The Gilbert police report and impound sheets showing that the Tesla and driver's side window were not impounded, showing that they had not been impounded, were disclosed to the defendant back in 2023. On October 2nd, 2019, Lorie Vallow and her co-conspirator Alex Cox were living in Rexburg. In the days leading up to October 2nd, Lorie Vallow provided her deceased husband's 2018 Jeep Wrangler to her co-conspirator Alex Cox to drive to Arizona to shoot Brandon Boudreaux. This is what the prosecution is saying. Before Alex drove to Gilbert, he took the 2018 Jeep Wrangler to a tint shop in Rexburg to tint the windows so no one would see him in the rear of the Jeep as he lay in wait for Boudreaux to return home. On October 1st, Lorie Vallow rented a storage unit in Rexburg. While Alex Cox was driving the Jeep to Arizona to shoot Boudreaux, Lorie Vallow stored the Jeep's spare tire and rear bench seat in her storage unit. While Alex Cox was committing the shooting in Gilbert, Lorie was in the possession of her co-conspirator's cell phone in Rexburg, so she kept Alex's phone as he was in Arizona. On October 2nd, at 8:02 a.m., the defendant used her co-conspirator's cell phone to call her cell phone to make it appear that her co-conspirator was in Rexburg, Idaho at the time of the shooting. All right, you got all that? So Alex missed Brandon and then drove home to Idaho. And the timing of him, he would have had to drive, based on some video I'm going to show you here in just a minute, he would have had to drive pretty much straight. I've done that drive. It's about 13 hours from Idaho Falls. From Rexburg, it'd be about 14. and he would have had to pretty much drive straight there and straight back. He was on his mission, according to all the court documents in the story, to kill Brandon and then turn around and leave. And he happened to do it from the Jeep that belonged to Charles Vallow, that Tylee Ryan eventually took possession of. But of course, in beginning of October of 2019, Tylee was no longer alive. I want to show you the police body camera footage that happened, that was taken the morning that Brandon was shot. It's a little blurry because that's the way the police released it to us. They have not released the full footage unblurred. That will come out at trial. But because Brandon is a victim, they've released it the way that they have. And this will kind of give you a flavor, a feel for the events of that morning as Brandon Boudreaux came close to losing his life in his own driveway.
Hi there. So what's going on?
Someone just shot my window out.
Okay, give me a little bit more than that.
Yeah, so I was just pulling in.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed a green Jeep Wrangler.
Okay.
It's like a pukey green
Okay.
color. Had a Texas plate.
Mm-hmm.
I just moved in like a week ago, so I
Okay.
thought maybe it was just my neighbor.
Okay.
So as I was kind of pulling in, they lifted their like back window.
Okay.
I saw a muzzle. They shot.
Are we talking a real gun,
I don't-
a BB gun?
It's got to be like a BB gun or an airsoft.
Okay,
It was
so
loud.
they shot, then what happened?
It hit my window, and instead of turning in, it scared me really bad.
Okay.
I thought, I'm getting shot at, so I drove straight. So I
Okay.
drove straight really fast.
Okay.
Pulled around the corner, got my phone out, called 911, sat there, drove a little further up. I watched them come around the corner.
What do you mean coming around the corner? Coming around the corner where?
So I drove up there. I drove
Okay.
to this street.
Gotcha.
made a right, went a little further.
Okay.
Parked by, there's a park right there.
So he went northbound on that
Northbound.
street.
Turned right, and I watched him turn right down here, and I knew there was only one way out of this neighborhood.
Okay.
It was on Pecos and Wrangler, so I told that to the dispatcher.
Okay, so he was on Wrecker. He went, but you don't know if he went onto Pecos. You just know Wrecker Road.
Well, he didn't get on Wrangler. He stayed on this, and he came out on. He had to have gone out on Pecos because that's the only way.
Oh, he stayed in the neighborhood. He did not go out to Wrecker. I got you covered. Okay.
And I was nervous, so I was kind of waiting because I didn't want him to follow me.
So we don't know where, if he went on Pecos, left, right.
I don't. I didn't follow him anymore. I was a little uncomfortable.
Okay. 11 Paul 22, just for information on units, left the neighborhood south toward Pecos and unknown from that location. Okay.
So it was really loud, so that's why I didn't think it was a BB gun, but it could have been maybe.
Well,
gun.
let's look. So you were just pulling into the driveway. They were sitting here.
Yeah. So I was.
So were they facing then west? Because if they opened the back.
Yeah, he opened the back, and there had been two people, I think.
Okay.
Real quick. They were parked right here,
Right, facing that way.
facing towards this van.
Gotcha.
And so my window was like perfectly aligned because I was kind of starting to pull in.
Okay, so you didn't totally pull in yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see my window. It's shattered, but it didn't go through, which means it couldn't have been a real bullet. And I didn't think about that.
Oh. Whoa. Hello. Is that
Sorry, my
who's?
car automatically-
Okay, I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, oh wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Is this going to shut on me if I get close?
No, because I'll
Okay.
put the key inside.
Well, I don't think that's a BB gun.
One friend calling us, engine on 459. It's been holding for over 2 hours.
Alright.
District 6.
Alright, so it looks like they shot up anything if he's there. Alright, so you just moved in.
Yeah.
Okay, you just moved. Okay, so was this a vacant home at the time?
Previously, yeah. It's
Okay.
a rental.
Alright. So you're the owner though right now? Or you
I'm
still
the lease.
you're okay, so you're just renting it. Did the
One second,
owners
honey.
of the house, can I open?
Yeah.
Is this, how do you open this door? Go ahead.
Right.
Ah, look at you.
Sorry.
That's pretty sweet.
One friend 12, Officer Taylor.
Anyway, did the owners of the house say anything to you who was renting the house before you or anything?
No.
Alright. Do you have any enemies? Anybody that you...
Just went through a divorce. There was some crazy stuff that happened with her aunt killed her husband, but I would hope that has nothing to do with this.
Okay. Did you live here in the valley before? Where'd you move from?
10 years.
I'm sorry?
I've lived here for 10 years.
Okay, so where'd you move from? Here in Gilbert,
I just
or?
sold a house over on Quinn, just right by the temple.
Okay. And no issues at work, no issues, enemies or anything? Okay.
Other than the only people that I could even think of would be that group. But,
The family?
Yeah.
Your ex-wife's?
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of weird. All right, let me grab my camera and get some pictures. All right, so you were coming here. Did it look like a long rifle? Did it look like a rifle type?
Yeah, it looked like a rifle or something. Like there was a muzzle. There was like some kind of a muzzle thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they just lifted up the back gate and shot.
Okay. So they were shooting this way. Okay. All right. Were you about right here?
Right here.
Okay.
I saw the tailgate lift up.
Yeah.
Pointed the gun at me. Shot.
Okay, so it would have
I
went.
heard a loud boom.
Yeah.
My window shattered, and then I just.
Right. I'm trying to figure out trajectory. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, there's nothing.
It's stuck in there.
You think so?
Absolutely.
That's what I was wondering, but I don't see. It's got to be back in here. I'm not touching. Anyway.
Who's pissed off at you?
Now, the green you're talking about, are we talking that type of green?
Like a hunter green?
Like a pukey green.
Okay, that's kind of more of a pukey green. Are we talking a chartreuse? I know it sounds like got a gazillion colors, green.
Let me just try and find it on my nest.
Look at your nest. He's got a nest.
Oh,
right there.
wow, fantastic. Do you have is that your car registered to you? The driver, or your registration? Okay, I'll just get all your information off of that real fast. So what would you say, how many minutes before you called us did this happen?
I just called right as soon as it happened.
Okay, fantastic. Now, were you able to, because you're coming in, they're facing that way, so you're not going to be able to see. When they passed you, when you were parked, were you able to see any description of these people? Is that a guy, a girl, anything? Okay.
I was trying to make sure I had enough distance in case they shot at me.
Okay. And you said you could see the barrel. You think it was a long rifle, not a handgun?
Yeah, and it had like some kind of like a silencer or something on it.
Okay.
That's why it's like maybe it wasn't a gun but it was so loud.
Okay.
Can I sit down?
Sure. Do you have I was going to say, do you have a chair or something that we can get you?
I have some chairs. I just want to sit down.
Okay, sure, no problem at all.
It's kind of hit me, you know.
Is there anybody else here? Are you the only person that lives here? Is there anybody here that?
My kids live here with me.
Okay. No other adults? Okay, is there somebody we can call to come here to be with you?
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay, you go ahead and you take your time, whatever you need, okay? Can I get you a bottle of water?
I got one over there. I'm fine. I just want to sit down.
Sure, no problem at all.
Is there anybody else here with you, buddy?
No.
Nobody else is here at the house? What do you do for a living?
I own a couple businesses.
Okay.
I know I have a lot of questions. I apologize. Is it a 2-door or a 4-door Jeep Wrangler?
Looks like a 2-door.
All right. I'm going to get some maps and stuff like that. I'm going to be making some notes, so just hang tight, okay?
All right, so that is just a portion of the video. All in all, it was about 20 minutes that we have. The rest of the stuff that I kind of cut out for editing purposes was the officer in her car and asking questions. But you can see what happened that morning, and that is the car there that Lorie Vallow wants, is upset that she doesn't have to have her own expert test it. I mean, I don't know what they're testing for, bullet fragments or whatnot, but that would be her argument. And Fortunately, as I said, Brandon was okay. Brandon did end up doing one news interview, but not at that time. At that time, I don't know if anybody covered it. Remember, this was early October 2019 before I was even onto the story. Tammy Daybell was still alive. We didn't know who JJ and Tylee were. We didn't know who Chad Daybell was or Lorie Vallow. In Arizona, the news may have covered it, but then it kind of went quiet. And then when the kids decided, when the kids vanished and that became news, Brandon decided to do an interview. And he was living undercover, you could say, living in quiet in Utah because he was worried for his kids' safety. He was going through the divorce. He didn't know really who to trust in the family with Lorie and Chad and Melanie and that group. But here is just a little bit of Brandon's news interview from December of 2019.
I spent the last 11 years of my life spending time with Lorie and her now deceased husband, Charles. I don't know what happened to those kids. I know that there's people who do and they're not talking.
Brandon Boudreaux, who used to be married to Lorie Vallow's niece, says he was part of the family. He baptized Lorie's daughter, Tylee Ryan, and loved JJ, her adopted son with autism.
I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense.
You've used the word cult. What do you mean by that?
You can't be a member of the church and believe those things. Their focus is just so much on the end of the world and, you know, this idea that it's coming.
He also doesn't think it's a coincidence. Chad's wife, Lorie's brother, and Lorie's husband are now dead. All cases under investigation in different parts of the country due to suspicious circumstances. Doctors initially thought Tammy Daybell's death was from natural causes, but her grave in Springville has been exhumed for further investigation. He says he's one of the lucky ones who could have ended up on that list of dead spouses.
A couple months ago, there was an attempt on my life, and so I went into hiding with my kids. Just makes you sad. You know, like a lot of people you care about aren't here anymore because of these ideas.
And our thanks to Fox 13 News in Utah, Adam Herbetz, for doing that interview with Brandon. He did go on to testify in the trials in Idaho, and now this is his trial, the last one of the bunch, and he has remained very out of the spotlight. Full disclosure, I've spoken with Brandon several times over the years. We always have nice conversations, but he has not wanted to be in the spotlight. He's wanted to let things play out and keep his children private. He has remarried, and as has Melanie, his ex-wife, and they share custody of their children. And you know, that's all that I'll say about that. But we will be hearing from Brandon because he is on the witness list. And of course, this revolves around him, and he will be the key witness, the star witness that will talk all about what happened that morning and what happened leading up to it. And that's where I want to go next. What happened leading up to the morning that Brandon was shot? This is where I bring in the surveillance footage from a self-storage plus, a storage unit facility in Rexburg. And I'll tell you a little bit of background as to how we got this video. Right after I got back from Hawaii in 2020, I was at church a few weeks later, and I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize, but it was a guy who owned Self Storage Plus in Rexburg. He said, I have footage of Lorie Vallow and Chad Daybell coming into my facility, and Lorie Vallow rented a unit here, and would you like to see the footage and see what's inside the unit? What? Yes, I would. I called him right back. And the next day I went up to Rexburg and he showed me the video, and he opened up the unit for me, the garage, and we saw the door, and we saw the bikes that were in there that belonged to JJ and Tylee. Here's some of the pictures I took. And perhaps most startling to me was these blankets of photos. Why would you get rid of those? These are the things that you would grab if your house was on fire. The photos, the baby pictures, the toys, the memorable things. But there they were in a really cold storage unit. And we went through all of the video, and we found, with the help of DJ Barney, the owner of Self Storage Plus, that Lorie or Chad or Alex visited this unit, I believe it was 9 times in October of 2019 and 1 time in November. And here's the times they were there. Now, here's a caveat on the video that I'm about to show you. The time, the hours are off by 1 hour. The clocks had not been set forward yet. But here is when and who visited those storage units. On October 1st, Lorie went between 3:23 and 3:32. The next day, Lorie and Chad were there between 2:27 and 2:31. That is the day that Brandon was shot at, October 2nd of 2019. The next day after that, that afternoon, October 3rd, Lorie and Alex went to the unit almost 24 hours after the visit with Lorie and Chad. Alex then visited on October 6th, October 16th, and then on October 22nd, he visited for nearly an hour. That was the day of Tammy's funeral. On October 25th and 26th, Alex was there. Most of these visits were relatively short. And then on October 28th, Alex and Chad visited, dropped off some bikes and other things. And then the last visit was November 24th. Lorie and Chad visited. That visit was just days, I believe 2 days or 3 days before the police went and served the warrant at the house. I believe they went on the 26th of November when they first met. Lorie and Chad was there and Alex. And we've seen the video of Detective Ball interacting with Lorie. And then they went back the next day with a search warrant and Lorie and Chad had gone. So what I've done is I've gone back to 3 important dates for this case. October 2nd, the day that Brandon was shot, October 3rd, and November 24th. Honestly, November 24th, probably won't play into this case, but I pulled the footage just out of curiosity to show you what Lorie and Chad were doing on their last visit to the unit. But let's start with October 2nd, hours after Brandon had been shot. I'm going to play this and I'll talk you through it as we go through it. Here is Lorie driving into Self Storage Plus. There's no audio. I sped this part up, by the way. This part is sped up. This part is sped up. She's pulling into the storage unit. This part is sped up, but here on this next clip is real time. I also zoomed in so you could see really close what type of things we were looking at. She stops there. She turns. And this particular day, she is there at the unit with Chad. Remember, Chad's wife is still alive. Tammy is still alive. They pull up to this door. They pause here for a couple of seconds. After a few seconds in the car, they open their door. They get out. You can see Lorie gets out. Chad gets out. They go into the door of the actual storage facility. And then they go and they open up this unit. Now, Lorie had just rented this unit the day before. That was her first visit, October 1st. So she clearly rented it with a purpose. They open up the door. And then they go outside and, it looks like she has to get a key or something to prop open the door, to keep the door open. Chad stands there. And the reason we know it's Chad, it seems right there for a moment, he looks up and sees the camera, and so does Lorie. Do you look at that? I don't know what they said to each other, but it's like Chad observed the camera, and then Lorie looked up too. Maybe I'm just being speculation there. Anyway, that's how I read it. They open this door. Chad then goes out. They open the trunk of the car. And Chad pulls out a tire. The tire that we believe was on the back of the Jeep that Alex at this moment had in Arizona. That was likely taken off the back so that he could shoot out the window. Chad rolls in the tire, puts it in the unit. Lorie stands there for a minute. And then they go back outside. Chad stands there by the door. Wouldn't it be great to hear what they were saying to each other? Lorie props the door open. And then they go and pull out the seat. Not the seat to that Nissan Rogue, but the seat, likely, that was in the Jeep that had been removed. It's fascinating to me that this seat and the tire were in that unit for just 24 hours. So wherever they decided to take off the tire and the seat, they didn't want to leave it there. Did they think the police might come? I have no idea. Because you would think they could just leave that over at Alex's condo or at the townhouse where he was staying or Lorie was staying. Why not leave it there till he got back? But I'm sure they were nervous. Maybe. There they are trying to close the door. Because why would you take it there for just 24 hours? I don't know. They finally get the door closed. This is the part. Lorie stands up. Remember, Tammy's alive. Tammy's at work right now, earning money to support the family. At the school, in the library. Chad is here with his lover. He goes over, he grabs her butt, touches her butt, gives her a little tap. And then they leave the facility. Here, Chad and Lorie go leaving. They drive in front of the units, and then they turn, and here they actually leave the facility. All right, let's go to the next day and talk about what happened when Lorie returned with her brother, Alex Cox. Lorie once again driving. She pulls in. It's much sunnier this day. Again, this is October 3rd of 2019. Drives in. Goes down to the same place. Parks. This visit was, let me check, 3 minutes total. They were there. Notice they did not bring the Jeep back to pick up the tire and the seat. Kind of interesting. Instead, they brought Lorie's car back. Here, Alex gets out. Lorie gets out. They go inside the storage unit building. It's clearly not Chad this time. This person walks different, looks different. Carries out the tire. Chad rolled it in. Alex carried it out. And here you'll see Alex opening up the door. They're there for a purpose, simply to grab those two things. And they go, they walk into the unit, and out comes Alex here shortly with the tire. There he is. Oh, no, with the seat. He carries out the seat first. That's the seat. Originally, we thought in the beginning that that was a tote with possibly something hanging over the edge. Some of you thought that it was legs. It's not legs. It was a car seat that Alex carried out by himself. They put it in the back of Lorie's car. And then they go back in. That's the back seat to the Jeep. They go back in, and Alex grabs the tire. And again, this is all under 3 minutes. And likely goes back and puts it back onto the Jeep, puts the tire back on the Jeep, puts the seat back in the Jeep, so that weeks later, about a month later, when Detective Hermosillo sees the Jeep and is able to seize it and then seize it, it looks like a normal Jeep. This next video I want to show you real quick. This is their last visit to this storage unit. And the reason I wanted to show you this is just simply because this is when things are getting real. This is days away from the police showing up with search warrants, questions. I wonder if they may have known the walls were closing in a little bit. I don't know. That's just my guess. But this visit is with Lorie and Chad. It's end of November. Tammy's been dead for about a month. The kids have been dead about 2 months. Lorie and Chad are married. They've been married in Hawaii for a few weeks. They're back in Idaho. Just days after this, they're going to take off again and go back to Hawaii. This time they're driving Chad's car, or at least, yeah, Chad's driving this vehicle. They pull up here, and in just a second, we zoom in. We see them get out of the car. And they're dropping off a box of Home Depot items. And in a moment, I shouldn't say Home Depot items. I should say it's a Home Depot box. There's Chad. Lorie gets out her side. They open the door. They did not show this in the first. We haven't seen these in trials. And one of the experts I asked, why not? There's Chad carrying in the box. He said that in court, you can't enhance these videos. Like, I've enhanced these videos. I've zoomed in. I've been able to crop. I've been able to speed it up. You can't do that in court. You can't add special effects. So there could be a question. Is that really Lorie? Is that really Chad? Now, will they do it in Arizona? Will they show this footage in Arizona? We don't know. Chad walks out with a tote, and then he goes back in just a moment and gets another tote. So they left with totes. Now, we heard that totes, he goes in, drops one off. So kind of swapping out totes. I'm assuming it's not the same one that he just took. And then he gets another one and takes it out. And these totes, we would assume, were found at the house when police did the warrant of whatever was in this storage unit. There he goes with the other tote. And I think that that's all they took. Lorie has something, a red bag or something. And here in just a moment, they'll close up the unit and they will drive away. Lorie and Chad were in there a while. They may have been going through items. We don't know. Trying to see, should we take stuff? Should we leave stuff? They decide not to take anything else. They look in. And Chad closes up the shop, closes up the unit. And then here you'll see they walk out and they drive away. And days later, they really drove away or left. So that is kind of a breakdown of the security footage that I believe is such a pivotal part in this case, because we saw Alex and we saw Chad and we saw, if anything, Chad cheating on Tammy, which we know now. Back then, we didn't know all this. Police didn't know all this. These guys knew. But now we know. We have videotape proof that this was happening. And they're off. In fact, DJ had told me that they just got these cameras like weeks before. It was a brand new camera system. So kudos to them for getting these camera systems. So there we go. That's what we have. Now, let's talk about the trial going forward. Here's the schedule that we have to look forward to. Jury selection next week, next Thursday and Friday, the 29th and 30th of May. Opening statements will be June 2nd, the following Monday. Prosecution will present witnesses from June 2nd through the 5th, Monday to Thursday. And then the following Monday or Tuesday, Trina K believes she will be done with her witnesses and her evidence. Then it's Lorie Vallow Daybell's turn. Will she present a defense between the 10th and the 13th? So far, we don't know if any of her witnesses have been approved. So we don't know. We don't know if she'll take the stand. Maybe she will. It's her last trial. Or will she rest like before? But all in all, the judge says it looks pretty clear that this trial will be wrapped up by the 13th, possibly on the 23rd. The reason that they're not coming back the following week is the judge has a previously disclosed conference, a court conference that he can't get out of. So that'll be awkward if we don't have a trial by the 13th and then everything goes dark for a week and then we're back the following Monday, but it might just happen. Here's how you can watch when the trial starts. The trial begins daily at 10:30 Arizona time. It's basically exactly like how the other trial was. Live written updates. I'm going to be in the courtroom every day posting live updates on my X account and on eastidahonews.com. Those live blog style type updates. I'm going to have them every day. Live stream will begin at 11 Arizona time. So that's noon Mountain time on the East Idaho News YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe and hit the bell. Would love for you to subscribe. Follow us along. That way you don't miss a thing. And then every night from Arizona, we'll be doing Courtroom Insider live at 8 o'clock. I said, that says Arizona time. That means Mountain time. My bad. Mountain time, 8 o'clock Mountain time, same time as right now. Now, I want to let you know about a special thing we're going to do on Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm leaving for Arizona. And I'm going to have I'm going to go live with Peggy, our moderator. As I drive, not the whole time, for about an hour, Tuesday night, probably between 6 and 8 o'clock, somewhere in there, Tuesday night, I'm going to go live as I'm driving. Peggy is going to ask, as we're calling it, Ask Nate Anything. Anything you want to ask me about this trial, other stories, whatever, ask during that, and Peggy will read me the questions as I'm driving. One, I need to buy the time because I get bored driving, and I want to talk. Two, I want to answer questions that you have about the trial. So I hope that answers your questions about what we'll be doing. So join me Tuesday after Memorial Day, and we'll have some fun. I'll answer your questions for as many as come in, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, now I want to answer your questions for tonight, and I got many of them earlier today. Big thanks for sending them in to me. Lorie, was she there? Sorry, Jody asks, was Lorie there when the kids died? At the storage unit? I don't believe so, Jody. No, she wasn't. She didn't get the storage unit until October 1st. Now, are you asking, was she there at the place when the kids died? She has said she wasn't. I've spoken with some people who believe she truly wasn't, that Alex did it, and Lorie was aware but not there physically, but we don't know, and I don't know if we'll ever know. Somebody asks, let's see what else we have. Kitty, why wasn't Brandon's wife being charged? You know she knew. You know that she is like a daughter to Lorie. You know she and Alex went and staked him out. So why isn't she charged? That's a good question, Kitty. I think that the prosecution doesn't feel like they have enough to charge her. That's the same. Many of you are questioning, why isn't Chad charged? Clearly, Chad was there at the storage facility, moving in the seat and moving in the tire, or carrying them in and out, whatever. Why isn't he charged? He's a co-conspirator. Prosecution has said in a statement they feel like they don't have enough that a jury would convict him. And maybe it's also because he's on death row and he's not going anywhere and they didn't want to charge him with it. I don't know. That's just me speculating. One day I hope to interview the prosecutor and I will ask her these questions. I will ask Trina K, why wasn't Melanie charged? And why wasn't Chad Daybell charged? Melanie is not even on the witness list, and Melanie, we haven't heard from. I'd love to interview Melanie again, and hopefully that will happen one day. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they weren't charged. I never understood why the ex-wife wasn't arrested. Good question. There was a picture of them. There's a lot of you are commenting. Sorry, just going through trying to find the questions. Nate, why can't you go on a little earlier? It's hard to stay awake on the East Coast. I'm sorry, that's from Iva. The reason we do it at 8 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Arizona, is because trial in Arizona doesn't end till around 4:30. And then I have to have time to get back to my hotel and put this together. Believe it or not, I do this alone, other than Peggy's help. Peggy does help a lot with the comments, but putting the presentation and the graphics and all that together, I do it myself. And that can take anywhere between 1 to 3 hours. Plus I like to eat dinner sometimes. So I'm really jammed. Otherwise I would do it earlier during the Kohberger trial. When I do Courtroom Insider, which many of you are asking, yes, we'll do Courtroom Insider during the Brian Kohberger trial later this year. We'll probably go on at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. So hope that's 9 o'clock Eastern. I know it's late. By the way, if you ever miss an episode live, it is always stored on the live section of our YouTube channel. Go to the live section, scroll down, and you can see them all. Nate, how was Mexico? Did you get your hotel situation resolved? Thank you for asking, Tina. Yes, we did. In fact, I have posted a video on Meeting the Eatons with an update. You might recall last week, Erica and we were on the beach in Mexico. It was amazing. We had such a good time. We did camel riding, ATV riding. We went on a pirate ship one night and they fed us. It was great. We went into the art walk, which was beautiful. And we found an incredible Italian restaurant and met the owners. Anyway, you have me reminiscing. But we had an issue with our hotel. And there's updates. And so I won't take your time now, but if you go to Meeting the Eatons, our YouTube channel, and my Facebook page, I've posted updates, but you'll probably find it on our channel. But yes, thank you for asking. We had a great time. Nate, do you think Lorie could face additional charges down the road? I don't think so. If there will be anything more, that's Sheila asking that question. I believe that all the charges have been filed in relation to Lorie. And we'll see, though. Elena says, Nate, what happens after this trial? Does Lorie stay in Arizona or go to Idaho? No, she moved to Idaho. She's Idaho's inmate, and she will serve her life sentence here. She will probably wait in Arizona a little bit of time for the sentencing, which will likely happen 30 to 60 days after this verdict. Whatever it is, she still has to be sentenced for Charles's case, so that will happen down the line in a couple of months. Nate, why don't you interview Lorie? Well, she hasn't responded to me about interviewing. I had asked if she'll talk to me, but so far she has not responded. If her attorneys are watching, I'd love to talk with her before the trial or after the trial. I think that there's some questions I'd like to ask. Nate, Daybell said her team wanted to inspect the vehicle Brandon was in at the time of the shooting, but it no longer exists. What happened to it and Tylee's Jeep? I don't know where those vehicles are. That's a good question. I'll have to find out. Thank you for asking. That's Judy. Was the same gun used to kill Charles? No, Charles was shot with a handgun, and this was some sort of rifle that was shot at Brandon. Good question. I'm curious, how does this help Brandon just get justice for his case? Does he have shared custody of the children now? Could this later involve a case brought against his ex-wife? I don't know. Melanie, the ex-wife, has not been charged. Maybe she'll be charged down the line. I'm not sure about that. And this is, yes, justice for Brandon. The outcome, will it matter if Lorie gets life or 20 years? Ultimately, at the end of the day, no, because she's serving time in prison and whatever. But it is, yes, to help get justice for Brandon. I still think Tylee was killed because she was mad and ready to tell what Lorie had done. Then poor JJ just had to be too much for her to handle. What do you think, Nate? That's from Kim. I don't know. That's a great question. Was someone else driving the Jeep? Lorie Campbell asked, was someone else driving the Jeep, or did Alex shoot at him out of the passenger side window and drive off? No, nobody else was driving the Jeep that we know of. It sounds like that back seat was taken. So was the tire. He put the steering wheel all the way to the top so that he could shoot out the back. And based on what Brandon said just a minute ago, the window came down and he was shot at. So many good questions. Keep asking them because I'll need them for Tuesday on my drive to Arizona. Teton Toyota's hooking us up again with another car. It's not my little Prius. It's a different car. And I'm going to need your help naming that car. And I'm going to have a good drive down to Utah. One other question. Many of you asked how our mattress is doing. We got a bed from Twinkle Beds, which has been incredible. They have been so friendly, been great with customer service. And finally, we have a mattress that we both sleep on and that I don't wake up feeling like it's 95 degrees. I have a cooling pillow that the Twinkle gave me, and the mattress is nice and cool and comfortable, and it's good for my wife's back. And so big thanks to Twinkle Beds. For you guys watching this right now, they're doing a Memorial Day sale until the 31st. You can get, they're doing a sale that's 10% off everything for everybody. But if you use the code NITE, Nite, N-I-T-E, Nate, you get an extra 30% off, and they're giving you 3 pillows. Anywhere in America, they'll ship to you. And one of the pillows is you put over your head and you like form it. I got to find out the name of it. I forgot the name of it. It's such a great pillow. It's perfect for traveling. And it's great. If you're looking for a mattress, if you're looking for pillows, and they have bamboo sheets. Not even kidding. Not even kidding. And the bamboo sheets have been amazing. Let me look up what this pillow is called. I have the chill pillow, the soft cell chill pillow, I believe, with the gel thing. And then they have all sorts of different pillows. The Sleep Crown Classic Pillow, that's what it's called. It's like a crown. You put it here, you can cover your eyes, you can cover your ears, put out the noise, put out the light, and it's great. Use that code NITE, get 40% off, well, 30% plus 10. Then you get the 3 free pillows. It's good until May 31st. Twinklebeds.com. You can go and take the quiz there and figure out what type of mattress you need. It's a free sleep quiz, and I think you'll love it. All right, everybody, here's where you can find me all week long. Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube here at East Idaho News and Meeting the Eatons. Thank you so much for watching, for supporting Courtroom Insider, for supporting East Idaho News. I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate all your efforts. I didn't get to shout outs tonight. We'll do a lot of shout outs coming up here in a few days. And then we'll be live starting next week, Thursday, live Courtroom Insider every night through the trial. And I hope you will watch, and I hope you have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. And let us remember the true reason for this weekend as we honor those who have passed, our soldiers and those who serve our country and do so much for so many, and those who have passed on. Thank you, everybody. I'm Nate Eaton. This has been Courtroom Insider.